Interview with the Vampire you did when you were, how old? You were like
11 years old.
You were 11 years old,
yeah.
and
Thank you.
I can't believe that.
I know. I could retire right now. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
32 now, and I could retire. I've had a long career.
You started really early. You did an Interview with the Vampire. You were 11, and it was your first screen. You had a screen kiss with Brad Pitt when you were 11.
I did. Although I thought it was disgusting. It was like, I was 11. It would have been weird if I was like, this is amazing. I'm kissing Brad Pitt. Like, then I think people would think I was a little bit off.
Right. So at the time, yeah, you're an 11-year-old, and you think it's just like this gross thing.
Yes.
What I was thinking about is, how weird is it when you did have your first kiss? I don't know. Mine was when I was 35. I'm guessing yours was earlier.
I did 8th grade field trip. It was in the Washington Monument. So it was pretty like...
What?
But he was a friend, and it just happened with my class in the elevator, and it was dark. I don't know if you know, have you been in the elevator to go to the top in the Washington Monument?
I've been in the Washington Monument, but I don't think about it as Makeout Central.
Well, neither did I. I was like, oh, I'm surprised. I did not expect that at all.
That is gutsy of that kid.
Exactly, so I guess he got the Brad Pitt memo.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. Here's the thing that I'm curious about. How tough is it for that kid when you say, like, well, that's actually not my first kiss. My first was with Brad Pitt. That's gonna be tough for that guy.
There was no tongue, though, it was literally like, so like, you know, PC, but still,
yeah, good. No, I didn't think there was, and I think that's creepy.
That's weird.
You've done so many big movies. What are the ones that you get recognized the most for if you're out and around?
Definitely Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah, all the time.
Spider-Man.
Well, yes. And actually, what was funny is I was at Bloomingdale's recently. I live in the Valley, which is so close to the studio.
Right.
But I was at Fashion Square Mall, and this woman comes up to me. I'm shopping for shoes, and she looks at me, and she like takes my hand. She's like, I miss you in films. I was like, well, she's like, I've seen you in the Spider-Man movies, but why don't we see you anymore? I miss you in movies. I was like, oh God. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not in like, we didn't make a 4th movie. I've been working. Maybe you don't live around,
you're making a ton
around
of movies.
An independent theater. I'm sorry. Like, she made me feel terrible, and also like, yeah, just terrible, actually. I didn't feel good at all.
It was a mixture of terrible and terrible.
I just felt terrible, but she was so sweet, too.
Well, that makes it even worse.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I want to be like, well, the next film I have is Warner Brothers, so maybe she'll be happy.
Well, no, she wants to see, so she clearly goes to
blockbusters. Movies. She wants me to bang it out. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just, you know,
You can't apologize, but also, I can't believe how many people, when I walk around, people always come up and they say, people say a lot of nice things, but sometimes people think they're saying something nice.
Yeah.
And it's this, I'm always getting like, oh, you're so, I mean, you're good looking in person.
Oh my God.
I've gotten that so
I've gotten that too. You're so much better looking in person.
People say you're so much better looking in person. I'm like, and then I think, what freak is on the show?
I know, I felt that way too. I'm like.
It's so crazy. Who's that guy?
I always wonder too, like, what does she expect that you're turning down blockbusters left and right?
Yeah, I'm like, I'd be happy to. I support my family. I'm like, please, I'm like,
I guess people think you just like get me a blockbuster.
Yeah, sure. Here you go, Mr. Dunst.
I do that every day. You recently quit smoking.
I did, yeah, about a month ago.
That's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's good.
That's supposed to be.
You know what?
That's supposed to be the hardest thing you can do.
You know what? I went to this hypnotist guy, and you go 3 times, and it wasn't that hard.
A hypnotist?
Yes.
I'm very skeptical of that. I mean, clearly it's working.
Well,
but
it's not like this, you know what I mean? He's not like, you are falling asleep. It's more, he takes little sips of water as he's talking to you and scaring the living death out of you. And then the second time you go, you quit, and then the third time, it's just like just any concerns or anything.
He hypnotizes you, but he's just taking sips of water and scaring you.
Yes.
That would hypnotize me to never want water. That's
How is he scaring you?
Well, he's basically saying, like, you never know when you're going to die of cancer, which is horrible.
Right. Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, and the next one could be your last breath, you know what I mean?
Really? So he says that to you?
Well, he just scares the living shit out of you.
Yeah. But it worked.
Yeah, it worked, and I feel so much better.
Good.
Like, why did I not do this earlier?
So many people should do that.
Yeah.
So terrible for you.
Terrible.